Hello everyone and welcome to the Big Reset Conversation. For 4 days in 4 major tracks, we are discussing and exploring innovation opportunities for Bulgaria and the region. One of our main topics is the future of work, and more specifically, the mindset, processes, and trends that will shape the way we approach our jobs moving forward. So today we have invited a very interesting guest from one of the most innovative employers in Sofia, Leanplum. His name is Hristo Penchev, and he is a senior technical program manager. In practice, he's coordinating all product development teams and making sure that everything gets done on time. Hristo will share valuable insights about workplace autonomy, remote work, psychological safety, OKRs, and all the other practices that form the foundation for Leanplum's fast business growth. As you may already know, pretty much all the product development and technical engineering of Leanplum's customer engagement platform are based in Bulgaria. So I can't wait to hear Christo's perspective on how it all works behind the scenes. Hi, Hristo. Thank you for being with us. How are you doing?
Hi, Dan. Thanks for inviting me. It's a pleasure being here in this interview with you. I'm fine, thank you. Let's get going.
Let's first talk a bit about you. You have been part of the technology world for over 15 years. You have a PhD in computer science. You worked as a chief operating officer at a high-tech startup incubator in Germany. You are a lead organizer at Techstars Startup Weekend. What's the thing that excites you the most about innovation and startups?
Okay, great question. Jumping into deep water from the beginning. Well, short answer, it's the people. It's the people in the space. This is what excites me and inspires me at most. The long answer, it has actually changed over time. It has evolved. In the beginning, it was the technology. It was the innovation at its core. The idea of exploring new horizons and trying new things out. Then it turned more into customer-centric approach, and I was passionate about how can we transfer this innovation into new services, new businesses, and make it available to the people out there. And as I said, now it's the people. It's transition because the people with the challenges that they face in order to find the right balance between being innovative and taking the commercial aspects of starting a new business. This is quite a huge challenge, and we have some great examples of great entrepreneurs out there. This excites me most.
And we know that Leanplum wants to create opportunities for qualified Bulgarian engineers to return from abroad and have the same conditions here as if over there. And you are a part of the booming startup ecosystem in Germany. First, why did you decide to come back to Bulgaria? And second, why did you choose Leanplum in particular from all the other employers?
You're right. Leanplum offers opportunity for people in Bulgaria and abroad. This is true. But on a more general level, it's the whole ecosystem that has changed and evolved in the last couple of years in Sofia and Bulgaria a lot. And it was great to observe this development from far. And at some point, I got lucky to be part of this ecosystem now. For me personally, it was a holistic decision. I feel at home in Germany after so many years that I've spent there, and I loved my job. But at some point, I felt that it's time for the next step. It's time for a change. And I do believe that personal and private life are interconnected. So it was clear that whatever this next step is going to be, it should be a holistic improvement. As a matter of fact, we were considering 4 options at the end: move to Barcelona, Copenhagen, Munich, or Sofia. And we decided that at that point in time, Sofia wins the race. Why Leanplum? Now, obviously, being close to friends and family after so many years helped my choice. But as I said, I wanted an improvement. I wanted a new challenge as a whole. And without the opportunity at Leanplum, I wouldn't be here now. How I found out about this opportunity, or how I stumbled upon this, is, well, I've done my research. I knew pretty clearly what I want. I wanted to be part of a global product company, a company after a product market fit phase that is either still a startup, scale up, or at least has maintained the startup culture. And as you know, we don't have that many of them in Sofia. So I've done my research. I've learned about Leanplum. Then I got in touch with people in Leanplum, and then I've entered the selection process. And it was long, but I'm thankful for this. Just to give you more data and context, I've passed 7 or 8 interviews in the end until we came to an agreement. And as a benchmark, Google surveys and best practices showed that the best ratio between success of selecting the proper candidate and number of interviews is around 4. And we do 7. But why is that? Because we really believe in culture at Leanplum, and our selection process goes into both directions. So I had the opportunity to learn a lot of people at Leanplum before making my final decision, as well as they had the opportunity to learn me on a personal level. So in the end, I found out that not only the company on paper looks great, but also the people are really amazing. It's very talented bunch of people, all of them very authentic. And it was a perfect match for me. So I picked pretty easily Leanplum.
And now you're a technical program manager at Leanplum. You're practically coordinating with other teams, making sure everything gets done on time. Can you tell us more about your role and what you do to help Leanplum achieve its product objectives?
I'll try. I'll do my best. Program management is well-defined space, and then the technical program manager role is also well-defined. But as I mentioned previously, I see Leanplum still as a startup, maybe a scale-up. What does it mean? It means that the roles are a little bit more broadly defined and a little bit more flexible. And I like this pretty much. So what I like to believe for my role is that I have the mission to help teams to be successful, right? Now, as a technical program manager, I'm responsible for the processes in our organization. Let's take, for example, OKRs as a goal-setting framework that we've chosen to use. I'm a huge supporter of OKRs, and they are a great example of a fairly simple process that is by far not simple in its successful implementation. So if you, for example, try to apply OKRs by the book, chances are that you're going to fail. And this is true for most of the processes. Basically, no process should be applied by the book, in my opinion. Processes are supportive tooling and enabler for teams. The magic happens when we collaboratively find the right variation of a given process, and that variation that really helps us. So I try to drive that collaboration at Leanplum, or in other words, processes are here to serve, and so am I. This is how I see my role. Maybe to give you a bit more context, a very important part of my role is communication with great variety of stakeholders. If you want to get the right people involved in a productive discussion at the right time, and to set the proper context, explain the desired outcome, to find the best solution, ensure that this decision is supported, and then also have a clear understanding, shared understanding about the steps of its execution. All these steps depend on the right communication. And obviously you need processes or tools, like let's say a racing matrix to make this possible. But in its core, it's the communication, it's in the personal relationship, it's trust, and it's the right culture. So this also defines a big part of my role.
And diving deeper into the future of work topic, Leanplum is one of the few companies in Bulgaria pioneering strategic autonomy program in that employees can spend a portion of their time working on a project of their own choice, as long as it benefits the company some way. Can you tell us a bit more about the program, and have you observed any benefits from it, and in regards to creativity and outcomes? but also maybe employee engagement and retention?
Oh yes, yes. We've seen a lot of benefits from such practices that we have. Basically, if you have a group of committed and highly skilled individuals, you want to give them autonomy. You must give them autonomy. This will bring you a whole bunch of benefits on a business level, but also, as you mentioned, in their engagement and retention of the team. Then people, if they have the freedom, they will select to work, and this is something that we do. We offer the people the possibility to select freely, to work on problems driven by their day-to-day experience and their common sense, more than by top-level company objectives. And they always find ways to improve our platform and our product in indirect ways related to the top-level objectives. These are benefits that we would miss if we will be 100% driven by our objectives. Still, autonomy at every level should be balanced with the right level of focus, because we are moving in a very competitive space, growing very dynamically. So if you want to compete on a global scale, you need to maintain focus.
And maybe a slightly adjacent topic is psychological safety, which is also a growing workplace trend. How do you approach this topic in Leanplum? Like, how do you make people feel comfortable and communicate openly without fear of punishment, while at the same time reaching your goals and deadlines?
Psychological safety is really very complex topic, multidimensional. Let's try to uncover some of its layers. Psychological safety is, according to multiple studies, one of the major factors for the success of a given team and organization. So it's obviously very important. For me personally, it means two things. The one is to feel the safety to talk about challenges in your own tasks and efforts, even if you fail, and not be afraid of, and the second part is to not be afraid of giving critical feedback to others. So these are the two counterparts that I would like to touch on. About the first one, talking about goals, it's important to understand that goals and their achievement cannot be considered in isolation. What I mean by this, it's important to look at the context and at the details. If you, let's say, go back to the OKRs, I believe that a bad OKR score is in the first place just an indicator of a mismatch between plans that have been made and the reality of execution. So if something went wrong, let's sit together, and this is what our team structure, org structure with our autonomous pods allow and empower to sit down with the right people and discuss matters with in the right context with the proper level of details. And then let's figure out what was it that went wrong. Was it the wrong hypothesis? What is an unknown? Was it a change in the business environment, right? But only with the people which are best positioned to make these calls, you can find out whether you need a corrective action. And I like to think about achieving goals as an indicator of whether you need to do a retrospective and define corrective actions, and not by just scores talking about performance. And about the second part of giving critical feedback, let's give you an example. I believe that psychological safety, as a lot of things, is driven by leading by example. And what we do at Leanplum is we have from time to time big meetings, company-wide or organizational-wide, with people from our leadership. And these meetings are called Ask Me Anything. So everyone is free to ask any question about the highs, about the lows, to comment on something, give a critical feedback or share a concern, and then get answers from the representative of the leadership. And this is something that establishes trust, and trust is essential for psychological safety. Another thing that I have in mind that we do is we implement a continuous feedback approach, which basically means that we have a regular scheduled, but also ad hoc one-on-ones, where we address all the issues and talk openly about them, basically in real time. So we don't wait for given performance cycle whatsoever to criticize on a more generic level, because we believe that this is wrong. We share right away and comment and focus objectively on the action and consequences rather than on the person. So I think that this is also very important for establishing psychological safety.
Talking about communication, how did interaction between teams in Leanplum change when everyone switched to remote mode in March? How did the company adapt to the new remote reality?
Leanplum has always been a global company, right? We have offices and customers worldwide. So we were quite good prepared to face the new reality driven by Corona. We are used to most of the practices that other companies are now inventing or reinventing. This was part of our day-to-day business. So it was, in a way, an easy transition. With that being said, as I've mentioned previously, we have a very cohesive team, very committed team. People like to work and spend time with each other. And we've noticed that that we miss this ad hoc, unscheduled, spontaneous personal interaction that you have in the office space when we are remotely. So we've introduced some trivial, some nice practices, mostly self-organized by the teams, bottom up. For example, our traditional Friday unwind, we do have it over Zoom now. We just do not sit together in the office. We have an open Zoom call, which is permanently active, and people can jump in and out at any point just to have a chat with somebody from the company. People have scheduled, again, company-wide slot in the morning for drinking your coffee with your colleagues when you are preparing to start the day. So in these ways, we try to compensate for the absence of this physical connection in the space. But in terms of execution and operations, as I said, this is kind of business as usual for us.
And more broadly speaking, what do you think are the fundamentals of successful remote collaboration?
Great question. Well, COVID or Corona has changed our world, and there are more changes to come in the following months and post-Corona times. Some people have invented that they are more productive working remotely. Others have learned how much they miss the office space and their colleagues on a daily basis. These processes will continue, and what is important as well in the office, and now even more important working remotely, in my opinion, is to have the right attitude towards collaboration and towards working. What do I mean by this? I'm a big supporter of the theory of results-only work environment, which means we do not count hours spent on tasks, but we count the outcomes of our work. And if we focus that way, then we can give to our remote workers all the flexibility that they need. By giving this, we will get to a more personal, individual level. Everyone is free to organize his day, his activities, the way how it suits him best, and then produce the best results. And obviously, you need some core rules in order to balance this flexibility. But yeah, personalization of the working day and the collaboration, being flexible and focusing on results, this in summary is for me the fundamental.
What's next for the Leanplum team here in Sofia? What are your future plans for after the end of the quarantine?
I'm really happy to say that not only for the office in Sofia, but also for Leanplum, we are lucky enough to be able to grow our team and to be able to actively hire people even now in times of Corona. Especially for Sofia, we have the main product development hub in the company here, and we are right now also looking for back-end engineers, and this trend will continue. So we will continue growing and offering opportunities for people in Bulgaria and also people like me, Bulgarians from abroad, to return. And this is part of the future that I see. Having a bigger, more significant footprint here in Sofia in the ecosystem, and hopefully not only giving opportunities to our new Leanplum employees, but being able to give back to the ecosystem too.
One final question. How do you think your job will evolve as Leanplum continues its growth journey? Are you thinking about any mechanisms to put in place to make sure things don't break as the company quickly scales up?
Obviously, with the development of the company, with the growing of the company, things will change, and this is true not only for Leanplum but for every single company that goes through that transitions. I believe that we have the right processes in place that will enable us to scale effectively without losing grip. But again, what is more important is to have the right attitude. If you allow me, there is a famous picture that shows Scrum and Agile principles as an iceberg, and just the peak above water is the framework itself, but all the fundamentals, the culture, the right understanding and thinking are below water, below surface. So what I want to say is, we have the right process in place, but we know that we will need to adapt. So most important is to be agile, to be nimble, and to react to these changes when they come. There is no silver bullet answer to all those questions.
I think this is a great way to finish this conversation. To everyone who is watching, thank you for joining us.
It was a pleasure. Looking forward to the conference.